Do you know that feeling when a track is almost done, but you keep tweaking it for days and somehow ends up sounding worse? That's perfectionism, and it kills your workflow just like it did mine. But in this video, I'm sharing 5 practical tips that help me break out that trap of perfectionism and help me to actually finish more songs. If you're forever stuck in the loop, then this might be what's holding you back, and I'm going to show you how to fix it. First up, set a deadline for finishing your tracks. Now you can make this deadline as short or as long as you want depending on how you work best, but for me I'd suggest 1 to 2 weeks to take a track from start to finish. This doesn't have to be a strict law, but having a clear time frame gives you an initial goal to work towards. Sure, sometimes you'll go over, and that's okay, but having a deadline stops the endless tweaking and keeps the momentum moving forwards. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Think of finishing a track like cooking dinner. If you set yourself 4 hours to make a stir fry, you'd probably overthink every single step, every single ingredient. You might slow down and stress over the smaller details. But if you focus, keep it fresh, and get it done within 30 minutes, it'll still taste as good and you'll have a great meal without the headache. It's the same with music. Setting a deadline helps you finish without endless tweaking. Tip number 2, limit your gear. You don't need as much as you think. This means less plugins, a simple studio setup, and maybe just a handful of synths, instruments, or effects. The more options you have, the easier it is to get distracted and overwhelmed. So by narrowing your tools, you force yourself to focus on your core track, and it leads to faster decisions and, of course, less endless tweaking. And if you ever worry about less equipment, meaning your track might not sound as good, then just go back to some of those timeless songs. Imagine Strobe by deadmau5. I love this song, it never gets old. But look at when it was made. It was 2009. Their tech was good back then, but even compared to now, there's so much more. But the problem is, a lot of it now is distracting and unnecessary. So remember, start simple, less is more, and some of your favorite songs will have been made just on a laptop and maybe a couple of instruments. You can always add to it later, layer by layer, if the song needs, and that's what I do. And here's my personal favourite, the 80% rule. This really gets you finishing your tracks and stops you from overthinking. When you feel that your track is 80% done, commit to just doing one last session, maybe half an hour, maybe an hour, to just finish off any final tweaks. During that time, focus on finalising the arrangement and any last minute mixing or mastering tweaks. And when the hour's up, stop there, the track is done. This approach is all about momentum. You've done all the hard work already, creating a track that you love, and now it's a case of finishing that last little bit that we all struggle with. And of course, you might listen to it in the car on your headphones and you still hear a little problem, but by this stage it'll probably be a minor issue and a quick fix, just jumping back in the door. I think the key here is that the song might not be perfect, but it'll be finished, and that's so much more important. This brings me nicely into my next tip, which is about accepting imperfections. But first, drop a comment and let me know, what's the one thing that slows you down in the studio? I read every comment and I'm always looking for future video ideas. Now let's talk about imperfections. A good example of this is the song Glow by Fred Again and Duskus. If you listen to the song in full, you'll hear loads of little quirks and raw moments which make the song feel alive and real. More specifically, at around 1 minute 56, you'll hear the lead have these little quirky moments, and it's probably because they recorded it into the DAW and then realised that those little imperfections fit the song really well. But the problem that we face making music is that our brains want to fix any tiny imperfection, no matter if it's good or bad in the mix. So it could be something that adds character or adds emotion, but our brains want to fix it. So remember, sometimes those imperfections are magic, and they'll make your song sound alive. Imagine it like a handwritten letter. All those little smudges and quirks, they'll make it feel personal and real. So the trick here is to sit back in your mix, and if your song doesn't sound perfect, but it sounds good, and you're into it, then it doesn't need fixing anymore, and it's probably done. But the one challenge with that, which we all find difficult, is that that's us trying to trust our own gut. Which brings me on to my next tip, which is to get feedback early and often. If you think your track is good and it's done, but you're still not too sure, then ask someone else to listen to it and give you some feedback. But the key here is not to wait too long to do that. Don't sit on your track for weeks on end, making loads and loads of tweaks before you ask someone to have a listen to it. Once you have a decent arrangement or a near to complete version, share it with a trusted friend or fellow producer or someone in your community that's happy to help. Early feedback gives you fresh ears and helps you make smart decisions before you overthink things. So they're the 5 things that I use in the studio to overcome perfectionism and get my tracks finished. But while perfectionism is one barrier to finishing tracks, so is figuring out which song to pursue in the first place. So if you want to know how to do that, then check out this video here and I'll catch you on the next one.